powerful time, guys. An extremely powerful time when the veil between the realms is extremely thin. It is October the 31st. It is Sunday, very early, and I am actually reaching out to you because I had an experience. Now, for those of you who are curious, I know I normally do my Sunday episode, and I will also do a second episode. This is just an experience. As you know, as the experiences happen, I post them. So this will be an experience that I'm going to post, obviously, and I will also do a specific Sunday episode. But this experience happened to me on Saturday evening. And the reason why I was saying that the veil is really thin right now and it's a very powerful time is because I don't normally have experiences at that time of the evening. That is not normal for me. Plus, I had on talk as I was laying down. I was just relaxing. And normally when I have on talk, it's a little more difficult for me to get into it and to have the experience. But this was flat out powerful for me. So let me get into the experience. I was lying down. As I said, I didn't have on storm sounds. I had on kind of talk in the background from my iPad. And I was just relaxing. I was on my side. I wasn't, it's so funny. I was sort of 50-50 on it. I thought, okay, talk is on, so that's probably going to ground me. It doesn't always ground me. I've talked about this before. This is another example, though, of being in two places at once, and something that I talk about on this channel regularly, that we are in those experiences, the experiences that we have, astral projection, and with this beyond body experience I had, I was able to exist in two places at once. When I went into that middle space that I always talk about, the sweet spot, I could still hear the iPad in the background. I could still hear it, but I was able to shift kind of back and forth. I knew what was happening and I was in that state, but I also knew I could hear the talking going on in the backdrop, and I was able to kind of separate the two things in a way. It is not an easy thing, but on this occasion, and by the way, I'm not always able to do it, but on this occasion I was able to. Once I felt myself in that middle space, I rolled to the left and I came off my bed. Now, I haven't always done this, but I like to now really give a sort of quick description of what the beyond body is, because I never know if someone's just coming into this video and they start listening and they're like, what is the beyond body? I don't know what that is. So the beyond body, the biggest difference between the beyond body and astral projection is that in the beyond body, I don't feel separation when it happens. It feels like my entire body is, say, rolling to the left, rolling to the right, or floating upwards. I don't feel myself or my spirit being separating from my body. And that is the biggest difference. The other differences, or one of the other main differences, is that when I am in an experience in the beyond body, whether it be a parallel universe or whatever, I feel much more like my physical self, or like a physical self. I feel like I am in a physical body when I am doing it, which is why when I do certain things in the beyond body that's normal in astral projection, like flying, for instance, I always feel an amazing feeling because I feel like I'm actually in a physical body flying, not flying in my astral body. So went over to the left, went over my bed, and slowly stood up. Now, the second I stood up, I was able to open my eyes within my eyes. Sometimes I feel this more than other times. Now, I could still hear the iPad, the talk in the background. As this is going on, if you can imagine, I can still hear that background noise. But again, I'm able to take my focus and focus it on what's going on in this world. And so suddenly the darkness lifted, and this was after I opened my eyes within my eyes, or that's my always my perception, or what folks call the third eye. I opened them, and by the way, guys, it feels like a second pair of eyelids, and I've talked about this before. For me, it does. I mean, for others, it might feel different, but for me, it feels like a second pair of eyelids underneath my physical eyelids, and I'm able to open those up. I was greeted by white curtains, like they were covering this. It had to be a house that I was in, and the theme that dominated this house were white doors. Now the white doors all had I think a rectangular pattern of like dots or buttons on each of them inside of the design. So you had the white door. The door was purely white, and I even think the doorknob was white as well, and the pattern was also white. And so I'm walking around, and I start opening some of these doors. Now, through one of the doors, I remember opening and seeing a bedroom. There were white sheets, and it looked like the bed had been kind of messed up, and it was dark, so I couldn't see all the details in the room. Then I closed that door. I went to another door, opened the door, and there was a metal barrier. So when I opened the door, there was no way out of that particular through that particular door. There was a metal barrier, and then I closed that door immediately. I looked around, and then there was I remember another door, another white door, a third one. I opened that door, and when I opened that door, there was sort of a wooden wall there, but there was a crack through the wall. And I was able to see, and the crack was in a lower area. I kneeled down, and I was able to see a child sitting, and it seemed like there was another house or an apartment beyond that wooden wall. And this kid was just kind of sitting there, and they were watching TV, and I could actually hear the TV, and I believe I could see the sort of glow of the television on this child's face. The child, I think, had brownish hair, was young, and they were just sitting there, and I believe I said hi, and then I think I waved to the kid, and I think the kid saw me and said, "Mom, there's someone there." Now, as the kid said, "Mom," I walked away. I turned at that moment. So first I turned, and when I turned around away from this wooden wall with the crack, I was suddenly outside. It was the weirdest feeling. It was like I was looking through this crack. I turned around, and I was suddenly outside. I was on sort of a dirt or sandy road. This place it was clear outside. It was night, and it reminded me of maybe a desert. But again, my perception may have been dirt, a dirt path. And this path, whatever it was, it sloped down, whether it was dirt or sand, it sloped downward. But over it, there was this magnificent structure. It looked as if it was made of rock. The kind of rocks, I don't know how many of you have ever been to Arizona, but when you go to Arizona from California, you can see that things change, the landscapes change, the hills change, there's a lot of rocks and everything. That I don't, for some reason, I'm thinking Arizona, it reminded me of that. These rocks were immense, and they were almost circular, sort of circular rocks, and there were huge holes between them. They almost looked kind of like wheels that were rocks, but they were more oval. They were more oval shaped, and they were jagged and stuff, but they were immense. And it was like these rocks were like an overpass. And when I walked in the path, I walked down the path. I think I went underneath the rocks that I saw. So as I got there, I stopped. I stopped at one point. I don't think I went completely underneath. And then I decided, as I've been doing lately, to go ahead and try and fly. So again, I was able to get into the air fairly easily, although my flight in this place wasn't as effortless as a few of the other spots that I talked about before. It was fairly effortless. So I started flying a little bit, and I saw people underneath me. And so I decided to go ahead and start to land or to land. So once I landed, I was near this young lady. She couldn't have been more than maybe 19 or 20 years old. That was my perception of her. And anyone who knows what a kind of a punk rocker looks like, that's what this young lady reminded me of. She had sort of blondish hair, short, especially short in the back. Her hair was different colors, and I don't recall the colors actually, the specific colors, but they were different colors. And she, once I saw her, I immediately said, "Excuse me," as I was coming down from my very brief flight. I said, "Excuse me, I'm from Earth, and oh, I just want to know what this place is called. What is this world called?" Now, it's interesting because there was a moment that she took my hand and we were walking. I have a feeling that we were having more of a deeper conversation, but I don't remember all the details as we were walking. I just remember asking her about about or asking her about what this place was called, with the interest of course bringing it back here. But unfortunately, and it was so interesting because I was like, I guess part of me was like, come on, tell me, because I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to go back. I could feel myself being pulled back to the 3D world. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the name of this world. Before this person was able to say anything, I was pulled back and I opened my eyes back in the 3D world. And that was that was the very interesting. I felt that it was a very interesting experience. And the one thing I will not forget were those rocks. They were amazing. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on another journey with me. And until next time, take care.